Now we have two things we have to do. We have to vote, and we have to make sure that we stop them from cheating, because they cheat like dogs. I don't know if you've heard, but the Georgia State Election Board is in a very positive way. This is a very positive thing, Marjorie. They're on fire. They're doing a great job. 3 members, Janice Johnson, Rick Jeffries, and Janelle King. 3 people are all pit bulls fighting for honesty, transparency, and victory. They're fighting.
That was Donald Trump in Atlanta last month, praising the state's Republican-led election board for pushing to enact a new rule that some critics say would make counting ballots harder in the state. Now, after a vote on Friday, that rule will soon be law. Joining us now, best-selling author, voting rights activist, and former Georgia House Minority Leader Stacey Abrams. Her new children's book is entitled Stacey Speaks Up. It's the 3rd in an award-winning series, and it's on sale now. And we'll get to that, Stacey, in just a moment. Thank you for doing that. A lot to get to with you. First of all, how do you feel about the integrity of Georgia's vote ahead of the elections right now?
Unfortunately, we are once again headed towards a confrontation where we pit democracy against those who do not want it to be made manifest. The State Election Board is taking actions that are patently unlawful and that are designed to create a fail point in our system. The challenge is that if we think about voter suppression, there's can you register and stay on the rolls? Can you cast a ballot? And the third one is, can that ballot be counted? And they are doing their best to ensure that ballots don't get counted, or at least counted towards certification. And so they've done 2 things. One is give individual members of county election boards the ability to not certify. And the second is this new hand count rule, which on its face may seem benign, but think about the fact that they're allowing 3 people to count what will amount to in each precinct. In Fulton County, that's more than 500,000 votes. In Gwinnett County, 400,000. In DeKalb County, 300,000. They've got to count every one of those ballots. That's going to delay and possibly demean the integrity of the ballot. And that's the goal. The goal is not to win. The goal is to cast and cause so much chaos that we don't count Georgia's votes. And that should be deeply concerning to anyone, because what starts in Georgia, unfortunately, goes everywhere.
And we just saw there on the screen, Republican State Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger saying that he believes the law could be illegal, Stacey. So is there any more that can be done to push to try to reform this effort? Is there any legal challenges that can be made? And give us just your sense of where things stand in Georgia right now.
Well, we need the governor to step up. Governor Brian Kemp has the authority to at least call for hearings, which he has declined to do so far. We know that the Attorney General does not believe that this is lawful action, and yet they have taken no action to reverse it. So we're calling on the governor to take a stand and pick a side. You can't both be chummy with Donald Trump and claim that he is wrong, but allow the State Election Board, which you have the authority to investigate, to run amok. We are less than 50 days out from this election. We need the governor to take action, and we need others. Democrats and Republicans are calling on action, making certain that we can fix this problem, because this can have a cataclysmic effect.
All right, let's move to the issue of abortion, Stacey. The Atlantic has new reporting on the death of a 28-year-old medical assistant, a mother who opted to end a pregnancy but had to travel out of state to receive reproductive health care. Afterwards, when she returned home to Georgia, she started bleeding, and the medical care she desperately needed did not come in time. The piece is entitled "The Woman Killed by the Dobbs Decision," and it reads in part, "Some tragedies are impossible to prevent or even to predict. The death of Amber Nicole Thurman was not. She was perhaps the first woman killed by the overturning of Roe v. Wade. She tried to get her appointment, got caught in traffic. They prescribed her abortion pills, and I continue back home. Thurman's bleeding would not stop. She went to the hospital at 6:51 p.m. on August 18th, and medical examinations showed all the classic signs that her abortion was incomplete and that the tissue remaining inside her was poisoning her blood. But doctors did not give her a D&C. Nor did they do so the next morning. As her condition worsened, when she was finally taken to the operating theater at 2 p.m., her condition was so bad that doctors started to remove her bowel and uterus, but it was too late. Thurman's heart stopped on the operating table. Stacey, Donald Trump brags about overturning Roe. He also says he's the protector of women. Your thoughts, given this reporting?
This notion that health care should be determined state by state is an abomination. What we saw happen to Amber Thurman is that she went to a state where it was legal to get health care. And when she returned to Georgia, because of Donald Trump, because of Brian Kemp, she could not get treatment. The doctors who could have saved her life did not know that they had the right to do so because she crossed state lines to come back to Georgia. We cannot have 50 different sets of health care in this country. We need one set of rules for women so that no matter where we are in terms of geography, we are still Americans who are entitled to health care, entitled to the sanctity of our bodies, and entitled to survive a decision to control our futures.
Yeah, this is a nightmare. This is the carnage he created. You'd think this would be a jump, but it's actually not. The book you've written for children, Stacey Speaks Up. I love the concept. I also think it's really important to start young girls at a very young age on learning to speak up for themselves. Can you tell us about it?
So this is the third book in the series, and this is about Stacey being in the cafeteria and seeing a young classmate who can't afford lunch. I wanted to focus on an issue that feels very accessible to kids, but is also an opportunity to talk about empathy and advocacy. You have to care about other people, even if it's not an issue that you face, but then you have to do something about it. Because I want to empower young kids to know that they have the right to, when they see injustice, when they see a rule that doesn't feel fair, you can speak up, you can bring your friends together, and you too can make a change.
The new book is Stacey Speaks Up. Stacey Abrams, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you very much for coming on, and congratulations on the new book.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it.